here with my good friend and mommate, Shanek Williams. And Mrs. Williams is mother of the energetic and vivacious Shamer. You mentioned that you read quite a few books and watched some videos. Anything that you found particularly helpful? Any book that you would say is a must read?
Well, obviously I read What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Yeah.
I feel like as you go along, there are new things to discover, and I'll say they're helpful, but they don't necessarily tell you exactly what your story will look like.
Yes.
And so you have to figure out from all that you read what you can put together to make your birthing experience and your, having children the best situation as you can. What I did, for example, we went to the hospital like I think a week before my due date or somewhere along that line. We went to the hospital together. We figured out what the routine was going to be when we went there, because that's what everybody told us to do. We definitely packed way more than we needed to pack here at least, because already here. But yeah, I don't think there's one book necessarily that I would recommend. I say dive into every resource that you can find and just figure it out for yourself. There were tons of things that I didn't know, and I don't think any book could have taught me. And one of the things was breastfeeding. Like, nobody tell you that you have to cringe your toes because it hurts so bad. And I'm like, I've never heard it until I experienced it. And I'm like, Mommy, wait, like, you never tell me that either, that it hurts to breastfeed. I'm like, nobody tells you these things. But you learn as you go. And,
How long did you breastfeed for?
I breastfed for 6 months. I was planning on 3. But by the time you start hardening gums and start biting them, I'm like, that's it.
Not playing this game anymore.
But I definitely missed it. I cried. The first night I came home from work and he wasn't taking the breast, I cried. I'm like,
you felt rejected, a little bit.
Because it was our bonding moment, and it definitely hurt my feelings. I'm like, but not necessarily regretted it.
I mean, you hear there's so, as you mentioned, each mother has her own journey and her own story, and there's some who look forward to when they stopped breastfeeding and they're proud to say, okay, I didn't breastfeed, or I only breastfed for a few weeks, a few months, or whatever. And then there are others that say, oh, I wanted to do it for a year. And it's interesting, but you have to embrace all facets of the journey, and you don't know what your relationship with your child will be. So thanks for that, Shan.
That's true. I don't judge people who decide to go longer or shorter either.
Yes. You never know. Yeah. And it depends on the child, depending on how they choose to latch.
Yeah. And for Shamir, it was but yeah, for me it was I started working 2 weeks after giving birth. I had to start working, and I gradually picked up the pace, and I think that's kind of why it was so short. If I'm to be honest, it wasn't like I was at home the entire time. I went right back into work, and so I would pump and leave breast milk and like that, but I couldn't always pump. I couldn't always do that. So I think gradually over time, he kind of just like, I don't need this anymore, and stuff. And then once he started eating solids, it was kind of like, all right, it's
yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, because, and this is on a tangent, but I think it's worth saying, there's some things you never realize until you became a mother. So I didn't realize that there were going to be places where I'd go that I couldn't pump. Like, I couldn't find a private, because pumping, you kind of need to find a private space, and you can't do it in a hectic environment. You kind of need to
Relax.
take a
Yeah.
little relax and just pump properly so that you're not uncomfortable or in pain or in discomfort or anything like that. I didn't realize that you can't, it's not everywhere you can go and pump, because you can't go pump in a public restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when some of these public restrooms come with toilets that don't have seats on them. They don't have covers, so you can't
Right.
sit on that and pump, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely true. So true. I remember because I was waitressing at the time, and I remember my breast like exploding, and like
Mm-hmm.
I had the breast pad and everything, and I had to be stuffing tissue in my breast because
Oh
I
no.
was leaking all over, and I couldn't stop the pump. And when I got the job, um, my manager at the time told me that 'cause she had just had her baby too, so she said, "Don't worry about it. You can always stop and go upstairs, and there's a room that you can go and pump and all of that." I didn't have the time for that because I started working in May, and got busy, and I did not have time necessarily to pump. And when I
Mm-hmm.
got home, all I could do was just throw him on the on the breast. So pumping was not my
Yeah.
fun for me.
And nobody tells you about when those things get stiff. Like if you
Yeah,
miss if you miss 2 pumps in a row, nobody tells you that. You don't even want anybody look at your chest or less to touch them.
yeah, right. It's true. How you manage with that though?
Um, with the pumping or with the breastfeeding,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
so I pump I try to pump every 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because my supply kicks in every 2 hours. So I try my best to pump on that schedule. In terms of the girls, they are gentle most of the time. If they're really, really hungry though, them them carry on with the breast. But when what I enjoy doing, like early morning, when I wake them up to feed, I wake them up at about 4 in the morning to breastfeed, and I put both of them on the breast, like hold them like two cannons,
Oh,
and
really?
that is the best time of my day. Like I love that time of day. They'll start breastfeeding, and then they're still kind of asleep, you know. So when they open their eyes, they look at you and they smile, and they're holding you because they're creating you, the mother, and then they're caressing the breast, and yeah, man, it's nice little cuddle time, warm time with mommy. So when you said that you felt bad when you wouldn't take the breast again, like that, I'm dreading. That is the moment I dread.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when they're going to say, okay, I don't want mommy's breast early in the morning. I want
right.
to walk up and down with daddy or whatever it is that they want at that point in
Yeah,
time. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I love breakfast time. Yeah, but I will say that it's been good. It's just when if I miss one pump for the day, like I miss one time that I need to pump.
Yeah, it messes you up.
Yeah, man, it messes me up. It
I
really messes
remember
me
too
up.
being late for everything because I
Yes,
couldn't get on a right schedule. I'm like, all right, I have to pack, make sure I have a thermos with water and formula and
yes.
enough bottles to get me through however long I'm going to be there for, and packing everything up, and like, yeah, that
You
was that
always leave something.
every
You
time.
always leave something.
Because
Mhm.
my doctor kept saying, "We're gonna take you off the list. Like you're gonna have to find another doctor if you're late one more time." I'm like, ugh, trying to get there in time
And
for
what
that.
people don't tell you also with the time thing, you can be well prepared, you know, and have the babies ready before, have the baby ready and everything, and then they just do something like they spit up
Yeah,
or they pee or they poo, and that sets you back a whole hour, you know,
yeah,
easily.
yeah. And I can't imagine having two. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Have you? No, may I question you? But
No, right.
have you ever forgot which one you breastfed or which one you fed?
All the time. Because I have to remember so that I don't get lopsided. I have to remember who I fed on which breast. And the apps nowadays not all. So I was using this app, Baby Tracker,
Yeah.
but Baby Tracker doesn't cater for moms of multiples. So I have to use 2 different apps. And then I was just getting frustrated. So what I started doing is using a whiteboard. So I have a whiteboard, and for each feeding, there's a time for each feeding. And I just put whichever baby it is, I put right or left. I just mark next to the baby's name, right or left. And I was doing that for a while. But the easiest thing for me to do is feed both of them same time on the breast.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about any of that. And I just know I'm left-handed, so you were by my left hand this time. The next feeding, you'll be at my right hand.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely feeling.
Yeah. The good part about twins though is, you see, like when you have to always be there to engage and play with Shamil, there are moments or times in the day when they just want to be with each other. Right. And I'm cool with that.
Yes.
I'm cool with that. That works out for me perfectly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
All right, Shan. Thanks again for making the time to talk to me. I'm going to link up with you again, you know. Yeah. After Shamir's next birthday, we're going to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, man, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot to talk about, because he starts preschool in September, so we're looking for schools right now. And
yes, my turn, big man.
Getting there.
All right, cool. Thanks, Shan.
Yeah, man, have a good day.
So, good morning. Here I am at the Norman Manley International Airport, getting ready to leave my girls and Rick for the first time. It's just a few days, but already I feel like my mom guilt is turned up all the way. And can you imagine, these little munchkins are asleep through all of this, through all of mommy leaving, they are fast asleep. Going on the Delta. Sleep ahead. Sleep ahead. We can look up.